Hey there guys, I am the Six Machine and welcome back to another Warhammer video. Just a very short video today. There have been a few rumours and potential leaks rolling around the discords lately about the upcoming chapter approved, and being an Orc player, some of them have come to my attention. So I just wanted to have a quick look through them today and see what changes might be coming for the Green Tide in the next few weeks or months, whenever chapter approved does actually come out. And obvious caveat, these are leaks and rumours, so whilst they may very well be legit, until we have the book in our hands, do take these with a grain of salt. So first up, the bad news. We do, not totally unsurprisingly, look to be getting a bit of a hike on a few powerful units. The beast boss on Squigosaur has jumped up 30 points to 175 from his current 145. The Squig Buggy is going up 20 to 110, as is the Kill Rig, putting it around 210 points now, and the Megatrack Scrapjet also goes up 10 to 100. In addition to that, the Commandos are also getting a little bump up to 12 points instead of the 10 that they are now. I'm going to be honest with you, all of these changes are reasonable, in my opinion. Yes, it does always suck to see your favourite units go up a bit, but let's be honest, even at 175 points, the Squig Boss is still quite possibly one of the best single model units in the entire game at the moment, and can be kitted out to be unbelievably killy or survivable with our pretty fantastic range of relics and warlord traits. And likewise, even at 210 points, the Kill Rig is still an incredibly powerful ranged, melee and psychic vehicle that also has a transport capacity. It is still very, very, very good. I think the bump to the two most powerful buggies is also pretty fair, although I would argue that this points bump kind of makes the maximum of one unit of each a little bit too restrictive now. At least I think it should maybe change in the next balanced data slate to show that they can now split up at deployment like they used to be able to do in 8th edition, because it is now costing you an extra 60 points to bring 3 of these Squig Buggies. So I definitely think that the majority of the fixing has been done to curb that oppressive freebooters shooting that was sort of the bane a couple of months ago. I think if it was still maybe a maximum of 3 or even a maximum of 1 unit, but they could just split up at deployment, would be a nice change and would still mean the buggies are really, really good. They just wouldn't be spammable still, and it would just really help with the annoyance of having to kind of fiddle around with such a big footprint that the 3 buggies have by being forced to stick together. On the Commando front, I mean, that's again to be expected. They were pretty much just better Orc boys at 10 points per model, so the bump to 12 just makes them, actually pay for the extra abilities and rules that they bring with them. They are still very, very good at 12 points, and I do think that we will still see plenty of them on the table. Just again, they won't be quite as spammable as they are at the moment. But now on to the good stuff. And there is honestly some very, very good stuff here. First up, the Battle Wagon variants have all dropped 15 points, so you can now get a 105 point Toughness 7, 16 wound, 3 up save transport to ferry your guys around in, which is really, really nice. Looters have also dropped from their current 17 points to 15, meaning that you can get a hell of a lot of Strength 7 2 damage shooting in your lists now for that little bit cheaper, and I do think that Looters at 15 points will genuinely be a solid little backline unit in some cultures, especially things like Bad Moons. They will really benefit from being able to bring just a few more looters in their lists. And then also on the shooting front, all of the mech guns have dropped by 5 points except for the custom mega cannon, which again I think is fair. It was a little bit weird them all being the same price because the custom mega cannon is clearly the best, but with that 5 point drop, I do think that gives things like the tractor cannon and the smasher gun like genuinely valid slots back on the table to bring as nice cheap 40 point additions to shoot at enemy vehicles or flyers now. Finally, two of the biggest changes in my opinion, both Mega Knobs and Killer Khans are down 5 points each. 30 point Mega Knobs are genuinely solid with T5, 3 wounds and a 2 up save, and now have a really, really good case for use as truck boys, if nothing else in your lists. Yes, they do still suffer from having no invulnerable save, but being able to save yourself a good 25 points for a squad of 5 is going to give you a lot more options for other upgrades across the rest of your army, and really is going to make them a brilliant devastatingly relatively cheap unit to chuck in a truck and just send up the board with maybe like a war boss in mega armor and just do some alpha strike first turn charges onto a key enemy unit. And then what is, in my opinion, a huge boost, Killer Khan's now only 35 points. 35 points for a T5, 5 wound, 3 up save model that can swing with 4 strength 8 minus 3 AP 3 damage attacks in melee? That is huge. For me, these were always on the cusp of being great anyway, despite their lack of a clan culture, but now, in my opinion, they're almost no-brainers. Even a full squad of 6 of these will only set you back 210 points, and if you put them in the teleporter, then use the ramming speed stratagem, you can easily get them into combat turn 2, and if you call in a warg as well, that's going to be 30 strength 8, 3 damage attacks, hitting your enemy's lines. Not to mention that will be after they've fired their 30 big shooter shots at ballistic skill 4 no less to wipe out any chaff or screening units that may be in their way. That unit I think is going to be an incredibly solid, devastating combo, and I think that despite all the other points increases that we may see in chapter approved, this alone, if it's true, is going to bring some unbelievable strength to the Orks Codex. So overall, it looks like some slight hits to the oppressive things like the Squig Boss and the Buggies, but that is, in my opinion, very nicely balanced out by some very welcome drops on a few units which were just on the edge of being good, and that should hopefully push them into the well worth taking category now. So I'm pretty happy in general. Like, the changes to the Mega Knobs and the Killer Khans alone just makes me look at all the other increases and think, you know what, I can live with that. And as I said at the beginning, a 30-point bump is a lot for the Squig Boss, to be sure, but let's be real, he's still a toughness 7, 9 wound, -1 damage beast of a monster who can dump out an incredibly huge number of wounds and mortal wounds in melee, so 175 still puts him almost firmly in the must-take category, I think. But what do you think? Are these changes legit, or do you think there are some other ones to come as well? Do you think Orc Boys should have maybe dropped down a bit? Because personally, the one thing I would have liked to have seen would have been Orc Boys and Snagger Boys drop by a point each as well. But maybe this isn't all the changes, maybe there are more to come as well. But what do you think of these ones that we've seen so far? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me. But until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.